If you have maxed out credit cards and it seems impossible to pay them off, this video is for you. In this video, I'll walk through a complete strategy that you can start doing today to get that credit card debt under control. Look, I get it. I know how stressful credit card debt can be, having seen a lot of it while I was in the Marine Corps and just the people around me, so that's why I really wanted to make this video. If you want to change your finances around and end this debt cycle, watch this video to the very end. So the strategy that we will be going over today is something that you probably heard about before since it has been around for quite a while. It's called velocity banking. If you haven't heard about it, it's probably due to the fact that it's really not all that popular and it doesn't really drive that many views on the internet unless you are actively searching about it. So that's pretty much the strategy that we will be going over, and I'm going to show you how to apply that concept to credit cards. Now, to make this work, you really have to be very disciplined to make it happen because the math will check out, but it will take you as a responsible adult to do this month over month to get rid of your debt. So in this scenario, since the average American makes around $60,000 a year, let's use some easy round numbers and let's just say that they make $5,000 a month and they have $5,000 worth of expenses. In this case, they would have zero cash flow, meaning that they're not able to save any money and essentially they're living paycheck to paycheck. Now, to make this a realistic situation, about half of your paycheck will go towards things that can't be paid with a credit card. So this can include rent, mortgage, car payments, student loans, utilities, and some other bills that require a checking account withdrawal. So on the side note about rent, you can pay with a third party like Plastic to charge your credit card, but it's going to end up costing you 3% more, and I really don't see it as worth it. So we're just going to make it simple and say that half of your expenses are not payable with a credit card, which leaves you the other half, which is $2,500. So in this scenario, they're going to have a credit card with a $10,000 balance and with a monthly minimum payment of $400. So this amount can vary depending on the card. Some may have a flat percentage and some may have a percentage plus interest and fees, but let's just keep it at 4% for the sake of this video. On average, credit card interest rates range anywhere between 20 to 30%. So for this particular credit card, we have an interest rate of 25%. Now, there are going to be some limitations to this math since interest rates will be tackled on every single month while there is a balance. But just for the simplicity of this video, we're just not going to add it so we can easily keep these numbers easy to digest. But if you were to stick around to the end of this video, I'll give you some more strategies that you can implement to pay off the debt quicker and save more money. So for this person, they make $5,000 a month. This is what gets deposited into their checking account every single month. This person will then pay off the accounts that cannot be paid off with a credit card, which is half of their income. The other remaining $2,500 will go towards expenses that can be paid with a credit card, like gas, subscriptions, and food. Once we take care of those expenses, this will leave us with $0 left over. Now, this is where the strategy comes in. In month one, they have a balance of $10,000. This is what they should do once they get that $5,000 income that hits their bank account. They will take $2,500 and directly pay off their credit card. I know that it may sound a little scary, but this is how the strategy will work. People often think about the credit card bill as any other bill. This is where you would have to think about it a little bit differently. You would have to think this account as an operating account. Now, by doing this will bring a $10,000 balance down to $7,500. You can see a little nice credit score boost when you pay off this credit card prior to the statement due date. If you guys ever seen one of my most popular videos about paying credit cards the right way, essentially what you are doing is just paying your credit cards a few days before the statement due date. This way, this will show a lower utilization rate to the credit bureaus. So in turn, this will give you a nice credit boost. So rather than having a 100% credit utilization, this will drop your credit utilization down to 75%. So throughout the month, they're going to be charging their expenses to the card, which will account for $2,100. Now, this may have you guessing a little bit, and I know why this can happen, because don't you have $2,500 in expenses? Now, this is true, but this is what you're not taking into account, is that once you move that money over to your credit card, this is going to satisfy that $400 monthly payment. So this is taking care of that $400 bill completely. This will create a $400 wiggle room when there was none before. So for each month that you do this will reduce $400 and your overall balance if you stay disciplined. By the end of the month, by putting half your paycheck into this credit card and using it for expenses, you should have a balance of $9,600. Since we're not digging too deep into interest rates, let's just put something into perspective. So on a $10,000 credit card with a 25% interest rate, it's going to cost you around $208 a month. Now, this amount can actually be less. because a lot of people forget that they can ask for the APRs to be reduced. Of course, this is at the full discretion of the credit card issuer, depending on your credit profile and your relationship, but you wouldn't know unless you ask. I have successfully reduced several APRs to the lowest rate on multiple occasions, so if your credit card has a variable APR of 20 to 29%, it is possible to get 20 if you just ask. Now, the reason why I'm not going to make a big deal out of $208 a month is because you can pretty much make an extra $200 a month pretty much doing anything. A few more hours a month at work, or just a little side hustles like Uber or Instacart. So if the added interest every single month is going to be a reason for you not to do this strategy, then it's probably not going to work for you anyways. So the way interest is calculated is that every month that you pay the balance down, the interest that you would have to pay would become smaller too. So if you are not aware of how interest rates work on credit cards, let me give you a quick breakdown. How credit card companies calculate this is by taking your annual interest rate, which is your APR, and dividing it by 365. This is your daily interest rate. Then you would take that number and multiply each day that the balance is due. So in this case, with a credit card with an interest rate of 25%, the daily rate will be 0.068%. So since we had a balance of $10,000 on that first day, we would incur a $6.80 interest charge for that day. So your total for the second day would be $10,006.80. So this would continue to the end of the month. Now let's move on to month 2. You can see that the starting balance will be $9,600. We're going to be doing the exact same thing as we did the previous month, essentially leaving aside money for things that can't be paid with a credit card in our checking account, and then the remainder would be going towards that credit card balance. So since this would lower our balance down to $7,100, again, this amount would be reported to the credit bureaus, which in turn would lower your credit utilization, which further would improve your credit score. Now, because of this, we satisfy the $400 monthly payment on this credit card. And again, we have $2,100 of expenses. So at the end of the month, our balance would be $9,200. So after 2 months, we have paid off $800 of this $10,000 balance. As you can see, even living paycheck to paycheck and not having any extra cash flow, you're still paying down this debt. Now, if you were to do this month by month, you will continue to see the balance continue to drop. After month 3, you will start to see a little bit of a credit cushion. You should free up about $1,200 of available credit. $1,000 should be the minimum as an emergency fund for everyone to have, even though this isn't liquid cash, but it does alleviate some financial stress in case of something happens. Now, in a perfect world, this balance will continue to get smaller and smaller and eventually just vanish. But as we all know that life does not always happen that way, your car breaks down, you need new tires, you need some dental work, or you just get sick and you can't get paid for a week. You know the whole spiel. Even though you're putting about half your paycheck into a credit card with no liquid cash, it may seem scary because things do come up. But just remember that your credit card is just another operating account for your money transaction. The majority of things that come up as an emergency can be put on a credit card. So just take a look at this chart over here. Month after month, you can see how the balance gets smaller and smaller. Around month 18 is where you start to see the magic happen. At this point, this is where your credit utilization is under 30%. This is a rule of thumb where credit utilization should be under. Of course, the lower the better, but usually around this utilization rate is where you can start using your credit to get out of this credit card debt much quicker. At this point, your credit is usually high enough for you to apply for new credit cards, which can further lower your credit utilization. Or you can find a 0% balance transfer credit card where you can transfer that balance to another credit card so you will not get charged interest on that balance while you are paying it down. So some of these cards would include the Citi Simplicity and Double Cash card, Wells Fargo Reflect card, and the Bank Americard credit card. Another possible option if you are really wanting to increase your credit score is by considering a debt consolidation loan. At this point, it should be easier for you to get one since your utilization is much lower. Loans do affect your credit score a little bit differently compared to credit card debt. So turning credit card debt into a loan could increase your score and lower your interest. So that's just another option that you can do. But rather than applying for more credit, this is where banks and credit card issuers may consider increasing your credit limit when you are requesting it. By increasing your credit limit, this would further reduce your credit utilization, which would further increase your credit score. Now, all of this would be true if your credit profile is clean, and the only thing that's holding down your credit is having high utilization. So this may not be an option if you have other derogatories or delinquencies on your credit profile. So with the math that I'm breaking down for you, you would just have to be consistent at this month by month for it to actually work. Now, this is only if nothing else changes, meaning that your income doesn't go up and your credit card debt doesn't get any higher. I'm pretty sure that I will get some hate in the comments saying that no one is going to be doing this and it's not going to work. Now, Those people are the same people who are not actually going to give this a try and are disciplined enough to actually make it happen. Anything important in life is going to be hard and it's going to take persistence and discipline to do it. So the idea behind this strategy is to have all of your transactions flow through that credit card and pay off those balances rather than thinking your credit card bill as an afterthought. So by month 24, you're pretty much eliminated this debt. And if you continue on this path, this is where you can start saving your money and have an actual liquid emergency fund. On top of that, over time, you'll more likely get more money from your job, which will allow you to tackle this debt quicker. With less debt and a better credit score, this opens you to better opportunities. Credit cards are not for everyone, so just be honest with yourself and see whether or not credit cards are for you. Or maybe you learn your lesson and now you know how to be better with your finances. So while you are paying off your credit card debt, you may need help with preparing your credit. If you do, check out these videos over here.